So 1/6, basically order of operations. And these are some of the most commonly messed up problems in all life. Like, you post some of these, if you scroll on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, you see people post some of these and people just screw them up all the time. And it's because they don't understand really how order of operations work. So let's say I give you a problem like this. All right, so let's say we get a problem like this. What's the saying to kind of, how do you remember order of operations? But what's the easy saying to help you remember it? Anybody remember? Please. What is it? Use my dear Aunt Sally, right? What? I ran out of room. What does that mean? You do parentheses first, exponents, add, subtract. Now here's where people go wrong with order of operations. They think it is set in stone that you take care of anything inside parentheses first, then you do exponents, then you do multiplication, then you do division, then you do addition, then you do subtraction. And that is absolutely wrong. Now, the way it actually works is you do anything inside parentheses first. That is correct. If you see parentheses, we got to take care of that first. So, in this problem, what is the actual first thing I really should do here? Yeah, I have something inside parentheses, which 1 plus 2 is 3. So in this case, yes, from the inside of the parentheses, I absolutely should do that, right? So yes. So please, we took care of that. Excuse, we took care of that because there's no exponents, right? What's next? Multiplication, but it's actually not. Here's what you got to understand. Multiplication and division is a group. Adding and subtracting is a group. Okay? And what I mean by that is if you have a choice of multiplication or division, you go left to right. You just do it like reading a book. And what I mean is this. In this problem, do we have right next to each other a choice of multiplication or division? And the answer is yes. I have it right here. I have a choice. I'm not going to worry about the plus 4 because that's adding and subtracting. I'm not going to worry about the minus 8. That's adding and subtracting. But in here I have a choice. I can divide first or I can multiply first. This is where people screw this up all the time. They think it has to be please, excuse, my dear Aunt Sally, and my always comes before dear. That's not necessarily the case. It actually isn't. The multiplication and division are a group. When you are faced with a choice of multiplication or division, and they're right next to each other, just like this, you do it left to right. So should I, in this case, multiply first or actually divide first? You should divide first. So the way you do this would be 4 plus, now I got to do 12 divided by 2 is 6 times 3 minus 8. Now, adding and subtracting will never overpower multiplication. So in this case, yeah, I should definitely multiply first. 6 times 3 is 18. And now I've got addition, subtraction. Now, I've got a choice. I can add, I can subtract. How should I actually do it then? Left to right. Do it just like reading a book. You go from left to right. 4 plus 18 is 22. 22 minus 8 is 14. 14 would be the actual answer to this question. But I can show you, if you post this question on Facebook or on Twitter and say, solve it. How many people have seen one on Facebook or Twitter, somebody posting something just like this, just a basic order of operation? They're on there all the time, aren't they? And people argue about the answer. The problem is, it's not that they've never heard of, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. It's because they don't understand it. It's because instead of doing it the way you're supposed to do it, oops, come on, highlight. Instead of doing it the way you're supposed to do it, basically what they do, everybody will do this first step correctly, okay? But then they get to here, and they go 4 plus 12 divided by 2 times 3 minus 8. Everybody gets to that point correctly. But here's where they mess up. They think, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I took care of parentheses. There's no exponents. My multiplication. I have to multiply next, right? This is the spot they'll screw it up. And they'll go 4 plus 12 divided by 2 times 3 is 6. Then they're going to divide, and that'll be a 2. And then they'll go 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 minus 8, and they'll get negative 2 as an answer. And they're absolutely wrong. And the reason isn't that they're saying isn't correct, because they're saying is correct. The problem is this. They don't realize that multiplication and division, that's really one category. There's really 4 categories here. Yes, you take care of anything inside parentheses first. That's always going to be first. 2, yes, you take care of your exponents. If you have exponents, you have to take care of those first. But the third category is multiplication or division. It's not, there isn't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories. There's really only 4 categories. Okay? Multiplication or division come next. Does that make sense? And when in doubt, or when you have a choice, you always go left to right. Same thing with addition and subtraction. Does addition have to come before subtraction? No. It really doesn't. In this particular problem, we got down to here, and yes, we did addition before subtraction. But why? Why did I do addition before subtraction here? Left to right. Oh, it was just because it was left to right. If I had a problem like 4 minus 10 plus 5, I'm actually probably going to do the subtraction first. 4 minus 10 is negative 6, plus 5 is negative 1. I'm going to do it left to right. I'm not going to necessarily do it addition first. And the reason that you want to do it that way is here's the mistake people would make. They'll see the 10 plus 5, and what do you think they're going to write? They're going to write 15, aren't they? But it's actually not 10 plus 5, it's negative 10 plus 5. So if you don't bring that negative with you, you can do it that way. Negative 10 plus 5 is negative 5. Then bring that, sure, you'll get that same answer, right? But what do you think is the most common mistake people will make, especially with addition and subtraction in this case? They'll just see 10 plus 5 and they'll write 15. Make sense? So let's do it. Everybody take a look at page 41. Everybody take a look at page 41. Very, very bottom of the page, 3A. See where I'm looking way down there? The first one says 5 plus 2 times negative 8 all over negative 2 to the third power minus 3. All right, what do you think I should do first? What is step number 1? Well, in this case, the parentheses, is there anything inside the parentheses to do? When the parentheses doesn't necessarily mean take care of all parentheses first. What the parentheses in please excuse my dear Aunt Sally actually means is look for things inside of parentheses that you have to do. Like, for example, this one. There was something inside of parentheses that I had to simplify first, right? That's what the P stands for, and please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. With this problem, is there anything inside of parentheses that we have to simplify? No. These parentheses just actually mean what in this case? Well, it's helping us keep track of that negative, but it's also telling us to do what here? Multiply, right? That's really what those parentheses are telling us. So it's not actually that we have to simplify anything inside parentheses. So in this problem, there actually isn't anything we have to worry about with the P. But what's the next thing I really have to take care of? Exponents. I have an exponent. So negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 is? What's negative 2 times negative 2? 2 times 2 is? 4. 4 times 2? 4 times 2? 8. All right. So, in this case, I don't have to. I could have done something to the top. Like you're going to get to the point where you can do multiple steps in one. But yes, that is absolutely the very, very first thing I have to do here. Okay? What's the next thing I have to do here? What's next? Multiply, right? So 2 times negative 8 is? What's 2 times negative 8? Negative 16. So I'm going to get 5 plus a negative 16. Now, I have division here, but I have adding and subtracting really here too. What's the next thing I should do here? I have to do the addition and subtraction. What is 5 plus a negative 16? Negative 11. Over, and really I could do the subtraction down here too. What's negative 8 minus 3? It's also negative 11. Now do the division. What is the final answer? What's anything divided by itself? 1. Now, some people would look at this problem and go, why did I do all the addition and subtraction before I did the division? could I rewrite this problem with parentheses? This problem actually would be the same thing as 5 plus 2 times negative 8, this whole thing divided by negative 8 minus 3. This problem and this problem are the same problem, right? So it basically, it didn't look like we had parentheses to take care of, but in all reality we did. We had to take care of the whole top by itself. And then we had to take the whole bottom by itself, simplify them, right? Before we did the division. Does that make sense? How you guys feeling with this stuff? Good? Bad? Decent? It's a little early. If you look at 3b, there's some different looking parentheses in here. What do those straight parentheses mean? What is this? What do those symbols represent? Anybody remember what those are called? Huh? Absolute values, right? Anybody remember that? What's absolute value mean? You're on it. What's the absolute value of negative 3? What's the absolute value of 3? 3. Because the absolute value actually means the distance away from 0. So basically you just make whatever is inside positive, right? But what we also have to do is we have to treat them with the same thing as regular parentheses. So do I have something inside of a set of parentheses here that I have to simplify first? Yes. These absolute values also work as parentheses. So I got negative 4 minus 7 is negative 3. Okay. What is the next thing I really should do here? Huh? Not yet. I haven't actually taken care of all my parentheses yet. The next thing I really should do is make that negative 3a positive 3. Then I should square it. 3 squared is 9. 9 divided by negative 3 is? Negative 3 is my final answer. Now, in this particular problem, are those absolute values really important? Why not? What would have happened if I had squared a negative 3 anyway? If these were regular parentheses, would I have gotten the exact same answer? Because what's negative 3 squared? Isn't it positive 9 anyway? So whether it was the absolute value or not, in this case it didn't actually matter to us, but we got that. All right, everybody take out a sheet of paper. I want you to try a problem here. All right. I want you to do 2 plus 3 times 6 divided by 2 squared plus 6 divided by 2. Go. Two plus 3 times 6 divided by 2 squared plus 6 divided by 2. When you have an answer, make funny nose at me. Got an answer? What is it? 8? All right. You got an answer? You get an answer? Not yet? When you get an answer, blurt it out. $10.5? You got 10.5? What'd you get? 9.5? Keep your mask up. All right, sounds like we should do this one. What's first step? What's the very first thing you have to do here? What? 2 plus 3 times 6? So what did you do first? 2 plus 3? Do we take care of addition first or multiplication first? What do you have to do first here? Do I do 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 times 6 is 30? Or do I do 3 times 3 times 6 is 18? 2 plus 18 is 20. Should I get 20 or 30 out of that top? What should I get? How many of you think 20? How many people think 30? Where it's 20? Okay. What about the denominator? What should I do with this? Make that 4? Yes? Okay. What should I do with this 6 divided by 2? Or plus 6 divided by 2? Make it plus 3? Yes? Which is? What's 20 divided by 4? 5? 8. So, here's my question to you guys. Those of you that got 10.5, 9.5, 9, whatever you got. Where did we go wrong? Because you're not alone. Like, there was a couple people that got the exact same answer. So let's talk about where are we going wrong. It was that first step, and we went 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 plus 6 is 30. Okay, what'd you do wrong?
I went wrong with 2 steps.
Okay.
I did the 30, and then I did 2 to the third power instead of the second power.
Oh, so you just saw that as a 3 and just wrote 2 to the third power? All right, so that's fine. That's a simple mistake. But yes, if you got 30 in the numerator, that's a big mistake. Like, we gotta take care of that. Like, that is a crucial mistake there. Okay? Let's try one more. So write this down. Negative 6 plus 24 in parentheses divided by the absolute value of negative 3 times 2. Go. Negative 6 plus 24 in parentheses divided by absolute value of negative 3 times 2. When you have an answer, I want you to just blurt it out. Don't wait. Just blurt it out. Have some confidence in yourself. Just blurt it out. You got 12. I got 2 12s. You got 12? Well, either we're all making the same mistake or we're getting better. You got 12. We got 4 12s. Oh, that's 5 12s. What'd you get? 12? Are you just saying 12 because everybody else got 12 and you don't want to? So what'd you do first? Inside the parentheses, negative 6 plus 24 is 18. Divided by, there is another thing inside parentheses that I also should take care of in the first step, which is absolute value of negative 3 is 3. Now, what is the next step? Do I multiply or do I divide? This is left to right. When I have a choice of division or multiplication, you go left to right, which would be 6 times 2 is 12. A very, very common, I was hoping somebody would say the answer is 3. Because that is a very common mistake. If you put this problem on Facebook tonight, I'll bet you'll have a bunch of people arguing that the answer is 3. And what would be the mistake that they're making? They would do 2 times 3, because you got to do multiply before divide, right? They would do this is 6, 18 divided by 6 is 3, but they would be making that mistake. Are we good with these? All right.